Hey everybody, Nick Welker from Welker Farms here. On this channel we do all kinds of fun stuff like play and build with big tractors, as well as lots of other interesting items. So, stick along for the ride. Let's get some stuff done today. Let's go. Let's see here. That's going to the lake house. That is not going to the lake house. That's going to the lake house. And, well, the railing's got to go to the lake house. As many of you know already, I purchased a lake house property off the farm several months back. It's been a long, enduring process of trying to get the place up to snuff because it was a fixer-upper. That's how we were able to get it. And we're gonna rent it out this summer. So I've been working really hard on that. Have not been on the channel really showing it as much as we did because, well, it just got crazy. But I'll be doing a reveal of it soon, so don't worry. The inside's coming together really well. It's looking fantastic. But I've got stuff I gotta do to get ready for that, including this railing project that I did, well, haven't finished yet. This is the deck railing. Been building these out of rebar and angle iron. I've got a lot more to make, a lot more work to do to it, not alone painting it. I don't know if we're gonna get to powder coating it just because of time frame and what it's gonna cost and everything. So I'm gonna be messing with that. I gotta wrap this up, so I'll be doing some fabricating on our dirty table over here that I'm gonna clean up because, well, everything got stacked on there. That's okay. That's what hands are for. Fix stuff, fabricate stuff, and then clean up stuff. Then we've got some other plans for the day. Might be tackling some items with the 600/50 Big Bud. That thing is still missing the center pin in it. Hasn't been worked on in a little while. We've got some big plans for that coming here, which we haven't revealed yet. So you guys stay tuned for that one. Leg arms is off, running around trying to track down a part for this right now so we can get to work on that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this. And then if all goes well, I've got a lot of other stuff I gotta do outside. It's cold, it's miserable, it's winter, but we gotta get fertilizer on the farm. We gotta get fuel because right now fuel prices are low. So it's a great time to fill up your tanks. We're gonna get to it. So let's get fabricating right now. Hopefully get that wrapped up, and then let's jump into other farm stuff. So first up, let's go get a truck started. Put off the railing for a bit. We're gonna go ahead and get some fertilizer moved out to the farm. Save a few bucks by doing it ourselves. So we got the bins up there anyways, but I gotta put this on because it's cold out there. Just not gonna go. We gotta get some batteries on this thing. I guess I'll grab the Fummins and the big jumper cables. That barely started. All right, well, I'll run this thing a little bit. I'll kick the RPMs up, get that alternator spinning so we can pump some juice into these batteries. This truck's got dual batteries on it, so that does help. That's why we use the Fummins quite a bit to jumpstart stuff. But if we just buy one of those jump packs, you know, heavy duty one, there's gotta be a truck one out there, that'd be awesome. That truck sat for a while. It hasn't ran in quite a few months actually. So it's just kind of what happens to batteries. And even if the battery disconnect, you know, the cold just slowly, doesn't take much, but something will slowly drain the power out of them. But that's okay. It had juice, it wasn't dead. We'll get her jumped up, get that truck started, get that fertilizer moving. Listen to that cat purr, 3406B. It runs good, runs really good. So that's good, that's running. One step down on to the next thing. So to get the fertilizer inside of those 2 Meridian bins that we had erected a couple years ago, I gotta get an auger lined up because we gotta auger it up into the bins. That way we have it on site ready to go for when it's time to plant. Let's take the 7140, hook it up to that old 13-inch auger of ours that we've got. That one's kind of a little bit on the more worn side, so we're not so worried about fertilizer damage because fertilizer loves to rot the inside of augers out. So let's get this fired up. I'll unhook the grade deck here and let's prepare to move some fertilizer. Oh no. Is it froze? There we go. Look at that. Cylinder doesn't even work. Gasket was froze. Water got in somehow. Froze it right to the tractor. That's too bad. I'll have to glue that gasket on. And that cylinder, I thought I put a new cylinder on this recently, but this tractor needs some love. We gotta do some work to this thing. But I'm pretty sure it'll start. Let's find out. Is it summer yet? Are we out of the cold yet? Ugh. Hate cold starting stuff. Oh, got kind of an issue. The snow drifts are all around this auger. And I gotta try to find a way to get in here without getting the tractor stuck. It's a pretty good sized drift, so I'm gonna go the long way around, I think. We'll see if we can get in here. Everything's froze to the ground, so I'm gonna use the bucket to lift up the auger and pull the jack stand out of the ground. It's also sank down as well. I love winter. This poor tractor. There's only so much time on a farmer's life to work on things. Most guys just say, get a new tractor. It's just time to get a new tractor. The run's good, drivetrain's good, solid. It's just well used. I'll tell you what, get a new tractor sounds nice because you don't have to worry about trying to fix this. I'm looking at the hundreds of man hours it's gonna take to completely refurbish all this. It's gonna take a lot of work. We might do it though, because that's kind of how we are here on Welker Farms. Okay, let's get out of here. Let's pull this auger back.
Well, we're getting closer to springtime, but as you can see, it's not springtime yet. But anyway, we are trying to get some of the inputs that we're using for spring, get it all around so that are available, so when we start seeding, we don't have to try to wrestle around. And one of them is fertilizer. And so I've got the old red Pete and my trusty sidekick, Kobe, and we're going to go ahead and haul some fertilizer from town to our 2 hopper bins that are out on the farm. And it's not a very far haul. It's about 3.5 miles, so it's not a bad, but we're going to make a few loads, fill the hopper bins up, and get that accomplished. There might be a little bit of inflation happening in the country, but I've got a tire here that has deflation. So I'm going to put a little air in that, get by today. I think there's one in the back that's down a little bit. I'll put a little air in there, and then we'll take off and we'll start getting those hopper bins full of fertilizer for this coming spring. So want to be prepared. That's why I've got this on. Isn't this spring clothing? Yeah, it was 15 degrees this morning when I got up. So, all right, let's get her going. You want to go, Kobe? Huh? All right, let's go. All right, here we go. Get those old bones in there. So what do you think? Happy? Huh? Put her here. Put it there. All right. Good boy. I'll let you know when you want to lay on the horn. Okay, let's get this ball rolling.
We're at the site. I got Dad in the tractor, so I gotta take the lid off the top of this Meridian. Thank goodness there's a rope to open it, so I don't have to climb in there, but I'm gonna double check and make sure that it's clean. We went and we cleaned them out last year, but better open the gate just to double check, make sure nothing's in there so it falls out. It's right here. Okay, the gate was actually open. So here's the rope. You just take this rope and you pull on it and the lid opens up. I'll tie it off. Okay, so I think the lid is open so he can start backing it up. I'll guide him back. It's just kind of tricky. It's easier if there's another guy here to help line it up, because I can see an angle, but he can't from that cab. So I can give him hand gestures. Let's see if we can get this up here. I think he's got it right where we want it. He might, yeah, that should work. We'll just have him put it in park and stop it there. We'll drop the swing out auger since it's hopper bottoms hanging in the sky there. I'm not gonna walk underneath that, I'll go around the other side. Drop that down, we should be good to go. Our hopper was already open on that tank, so, and I already ran the auger a little bit, so we can clean out a little bit when we first open her up, but should be good. We don't have fertilizer yet. It's at the plant, which isn't far from us, so we gotta get the truck and take it there. But at least this is good to go, so we don't have to all be here, so it can be a one-man job getting the truck, getting fertilizer, and then loading the bin. But I think we're gonna get about 250 ton, so that's gonna mean, my dad was thinking 6 to 7 loads, which is gonna be a couple.
gonna roll this underneath the hopper and then start the tractor, and we'll start unloading the product. I've got one load in it already. This is my second load, hauling about 28 ton each load. So I'm gonna be able to get 3 loads in there, and then about a half of another one. When that one's full, we'll move the auger over. These are 100-ton bins that will hold enough fertilizer, bolt them together to get a big chunk of our spring wheat seeded. There'll be a little bit more that we'll need to pick up. But this will really make it handy because we can just bring our truck right in when we're seeding and fill it up, not have to get in line and wait in town. If you're able to buy it earlier in the spring, even in the winter, there's a discount. So just to get it moved and get ready. So got Kobe there watching the truck just to make sure no rogue rabbits jump in this heat and take off. He's really been good at it. None of that has happened. We've never lost a truck or trailer due to RRs. So, but anyway, yeah, it's only about 20, 21 degrees. A little chilly, but I'm an old codger. I've been here for a while. Let's get this thing loaded.
We have the 600 Big Bud in the shop that's been here for a while. You're probably wondering, what is the deal with the 600 Big Bud? Did we get the center pin in? No, we did not get the center pin in. We have been extremely busy. That being said, I like saying that word, by the way, we have a couple things to do today. One, we do have the center pin. I had a machine shop go ahead and thread the piece of steel, and they did another thing for me, which I said I was gonna do, but I'm not gonna say no because it was very helpful. They went ahead and tapped and drilled and put grease zerks in it, and they found us this nut that fits on the bottom, so I don't have to use the one that I cut up, which is awesome because the threads were jacked up on it anyways. It was a $90 nut. The piece of round stock was $150, and they charged a little bit just to do the whole process. But since I am extremely busy, a lot going on, and I could have lathed it out myself, but I didn't want to mess it up, and they have a bigger lathe and better setup. Just let them do it for right now. I do have to make something for the tractor though. There are shims, little spacers, that go above and below the bearing that are on the pivot point of the tractor. I had to chop those up to get that pin out. They were seized on there and it was extremely difficult to get off. But that's okay, I can make new ones of those. I wasn't worried about it. If I chop those up, not a big deal, make some new ones. I tried to find the right type of pipe that's a heavier, thick pipe, like gas line pipe or so, I don't know what they call it. And I could not find one on our farm. I could not find the right dimension. So I went to town and I went to a guy that is a machine shop, kind of machine shop. He does a lot of welding, so I figured he'd have a lot of scrap stuff on there. He did have something for me, which was awesome. Here we go. He had this piece and he had this piece right here. A total of $3. Sadly, I did not have my wallet with me, so I could not pay him. I'll pay him tomorrow. This is what I gotta make. I gotta make 4 of these things. I'm not gonna really worry about that little lip on the side, you know, the little beveled edge. I don't need that, those other ones are thicker. And here we have the new center pin for the tractor. Threaded, nut, and they got grease zerks, one here and one on the other side. So, awesome. That is a sweet deal. I will have to take these pieces, cut them out to the right depth that I want, and bore out this center of it so I can put it on that pin, because they're a little smaller diameter and that pin's a little bit bigger, and that's okay. They're plenty thick, just a tiny bit of shave and I'm calling good. You ready? I'm ready. Let's do this. Well, I'd say the measurements look right. Oh, what did I do with it? I can never find anything I need. Oh, it's right over here. That's weird. My bad. Let's take it out and let's find out if it'll slide over. I still have to cut the other side a little bit. Butter. Isn't that nice? There's a little tiny lip on the inside right here that I'll have to trim off, and I'm going to leave them a little thicker depth-wise. I want them so I can shim them as I put them on the tractor. If I cut them too thin, that's not a good thing. I'll have to start over. So leave them a little bit thicker, cut them down to what I want, and go from there. But look at how nice it was meant to be. Okay, let's make another 4. Or no, wait, 3.
3 more.
Leg arm's working hard on the pin. I'm gonna jump back to the railing here now that we got Dad hauling fertilizer. I've been really trying to go back and forth on how to mount this railing to the vertical square tubing, and I thought about a piece of flat iron, drill a hole in it. I'm just trying to find ways to reduce the amount of drilling, because that's just room for error if I don't drill the holes correctly and weld them correctly. So I think I'm gonna go this way using the larger nut with a smaller bolt, and that way there's a little bit of slop, tighten everything up, it should be solid. It's gonna be plenty secure. It just means I gotta weld that large nut to the railing. So I'm gonna go through, we're gonna mock this one up, just see how it looks, tighten it all up. I like it. I'm gonna start drilling all the holes in these things. There's gonna be a lot of holes drilled in those things. They sure oil this iron down. That's good. Reason to oil iron that's fresh out of the foundry, because otherwise it'll rust. In shipping, transport, just humidity in the air, it'll rust. And some of the rebar I got has rust on it because it's iron rust. But it sure makes for messy hands. Oh, there's gloves. I can wear gloves. That's a good idea. I don't know why I'm not. Anyways, but I ground this down. All these have the holes drilled through, hopefully, with Nick Precision. So this is the 7 that I need to do the main deck. I still gotta do the end posts, the corners. Those are gonna take a little bit different bolt pattern. And then I have a couple other ones I gotta do. But this will get me started at least. I can start putting these together. I'm gonna go eat. I'll be back.
Spacers are made. That means I can start putting the pin back in. I'll take some anti-seize, make sure I lube it up pretty good with anti-seize so it doesn't get rusty and hard to get out like it was before. Let's do this. With this spacer right here is the right dimensions that I want. So I'm gonna slide it right underneath there. And then if you look down inside, you can see it's still off, but the bushing is right in there. And I'll line it up how I want. I'll put some anti-seize on that, and then I'm gonna take the pin right here, I'm gonna shove it straight up underneath. Reason for is I don't wanna jack up these threads that are down here by going straight down. And since I don't have this top piece welded on, that works out great for me. When I get it through where I want it, then I'll weld that top piece on and tighten everything up, and we will be good to go. The pin is going in, which is a good thing. I have about 2/3 of the way in so far. I'm leaving a little bit of a gap. I gotta measure that gap. I gotta cut the other shim to match that gap, and I'll leave a little extra so I can kind of wedge it in there, make it tight. And then I will come over, install it, put the pin through, weld the top plate in, and we should be good to go. Who's that guy?
Just making sure he's working.
Hey, Nick, are you cleaning the shop?
Yes.
Man, he's grumpy. Don't talk to him when he's grumpy. You know, I actually, ever since he's been on coffee, he's been very grumpy. After it's welded, let's take a look and see how bad the welds look. But I don't think it's gonna come apart.
Okay, I'm back. Let's pick up where I left off. I'm gonna start welding. What happened to my welder? Did you take my welder?
No, I didn't, no.
Oh. Okay, well, I can't weld because he took my welder, so.
You burned my hat.
I guess it was an accident. I didn't mean to burn your hat.
Sure you did.
Well, was it an accident that you took my welder?
Nope, not an accident.
Let's get out of here. I'm gonna go outside for a bit. It's actually starting to be pretty nice weather outside. It's above freezing, sun's shining, the snow is kind of starting to melt a little bit, but there's no wind. That just makes it so nice. And I just had to walk over and look at this thing for a second because it was sitting there. Yeah, it still looks good. I just want to take a moment to talk about this video sponsor, Audible. I've been using Audible to listen to a book called The Worst Hard Time by Timothy Egan. It's a book about the Dust Bowl, and I feel that's a topic that's not really taught well enough in schools these days. The Dust Bowl, if many of you have never heard of, or if you do know, took place in the early 1930s. And it was a combination of improper farming practices mixed with some really nasty dry weather. And it created storms that traveled thousands of miles, dust clouds 2 miles high. And from my understanding, houses were buried, there was massive locust and rabbit outbreaks, a lot of people's lives were drastically hurt, a lot of topsoil was lost, and it's quite a story. It really does bring some kind of humbleness back to my life here on the farm. We have done a lot to save our land and improve our farming practices here. We don't do as much tilling as we used to. This land here does blow, so if you plow this ground a lot, it will blow. But the book, The Worst Hard Time, really goes into a lot of awesome stories that give you a lot of idea on what really led up to that disaster that took place and how it wreaked so much havoc and how people's lives were affected. Highly recommend that book.
Speaking of rabbits.
So if you're interested in listening to a great book and also learning more about the Dust Bowl, go get yourself Audible, because members get 1 free audiobook a month plus 2 Audible originals. That's pretty awesome. It's easy. Just go to audible.com/Welker Farms or text Welker Farms to 500-500. All right, I gotta go help Dad. He just pulled in the yard. Let's fill that bin up. Oh, look at all that soon-to-be nitrogen in the ground. That's urea, by the way, guys. It's some of the best ways to get nitrogen in our soil here. So we're stocking up on it because we're gonna burn through this in just a couple weeks. Got a lot of acres to plant. Possibly 5,000 to 7,000. We'll see. There's 3 little windows on these bins that tell you kind of the level of the product inside, but to get it really full, someone's gotta go up to the top. That's gonna be me. Don't worry, I came prepared. I just gotta put this on. I can't see anything yet, it's so cloudy in there. I'll have to give it a second.
Front half. So that should be somewhere around, 97.
Okay.
98.
Well, it's clearing up. I should be able to see the top of it soon. Let me take a look in here. Looks like you got about 3 feet to the top. So you could do a little more, but it wouldn't be a lot more.
We gotta move the truck.
Okay, done here. Let's go down. That's pretty full. It's like a foot from the top. Don't take a look. Let's do it. That's good enough. So I'm gonna climb down. I'm gonna help him move the auger to the next bin, which is right there. And then we'll finish unloading that truck. Then I can get out of this gear and get down safely. After some thought, I think I figured out how I'm gonna do the corner posts on the deck. Because I don't want holes drilled through both sides of the square tubing because the bolt's gonna stick out on the outside, I'm gonna just go ahead and weld bolts to the square tubing, and that way I'll just slide the railing over and then put a nut on the backside and it'll work great. But the problem is I don't need that bolt head. I need that gone. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna use a scrap pipe here that I think leg arms left. I'm just gonna weld these to it, and then I'm just gonna take the cutoff blade, knock off the threaded end, and then weld that to the square tubing. Yeah, great, let's do it. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. As you can see, that's the corner post. So that way I can just slip the railing up against it, put a nut on each side, and then the rest of them, well then I'll put bolts through and sandwich both railing sections to the vertical support. I think it'll work. Now let's keep going. Well, you did a pretty good job, I'd say.
Am I fired?
I cleaned the shop.
We're even then.
For
That's
now.
it, we're even.
I'm still mad about you going to MM Millennial Farm
That's
without me.
Don't worry. You're not missing a whole lot.
Really?
Yeah, there's just green everywhere.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I know, right?
Anyways,
Actually,
guys.
it's kind of pretty. It's actually pretty pretty.
Yeah, there is some nice looking machinery there. I'm not going to pretend that there isn't. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah.
He got the bud running, that's good. I got some of my railing almost done. Still a lot more to do. I got a lot of paint to do. Got some fertilizer hauled. It was a productive day. So take care, guys. God bless. Have a great weekend, and stay warm. We'll catch you later. Bye.
Like and subscribe.